Hello everyone.
And welcome to the show.
So chocolate's everyone's guilty pleasure. Are you enjoying it, Alex?
Oh, it started off as everyone's guilty pleasure, but now it's become an everyday expense.
So that's true for many people. But can we really afford this small bar of chocolate?
We sent Chris to find out more.
In recent times, we have seen a general increase in the price of cocoa beans. However, since 2008, the price has been quite volatile due to factors affecting demand and supply. The reasons for these changes in price will be discussed in more detail later in the video. As we know, chocolate is a very popular item in our society. However, there are many processes that contribute to its production. The small cocoa bean is the starting point of this process, so where exactly are these produced? West Africa, Central and South America accounts for 90% of this production. The largest producer is the Ivory Coast. However, there have been several issues resulting in a decrease in supply. I spoke to Mr. Matsbachs, a commodity expert, to explore this further.
The most popular place is Ivory Coast, which makes around 40% of global output. Cocoa farming in Ivory Coast is suffering from lack of investment and high taxes, with many farmers switching to the more profitable trading in rubber. Furthermore, industry indicates that Ivorian cocoa trees planted more than 25 years ago have already passed their peak of productivity. Without new planning, production in the country will likely drop each year, affecting economic recovery due to increase in supply. At the same time, the political instability in Ivory Coast has ended in the exports of cocoa beans being stalled. This has resulted in warehouse stocks decreased and therefore increase in price.
So are there any other factors which affect supply?
Yes. Cocoa production is highly sensitive to the changes in weather conditions, and especially El Niño events have a negative impact on cocoa production. For instance, lately it is estimated that El Niño events reduce cocoa production by 2.4% of world level.
Mr. Matsbachs was talking about specific weather patterns. El Niño season occurs when the water in the Pacific Ocean warms up, resulting in unfavourable growing conditions in the country of production, whilst with La Niña the opposite effect occurs. So it's not only the supply that affects the price of cocoa beans, but also the demand. I spoke to Harshar to find out more on this subject.
The majority of demand for cocoa bean is determined by cocoa powder. Demand for cocoa powder has increased by 20% between 2002 and 2007 as measured by consumption. This increase is due to the increase in living standards in developing countries, which is creating an increase in chocolate bars. This is purely because in developing countries they consider this as an elite luxury item.
So how much has the consumption in developing countries increased by?
Well, Chris, in developing countries it's increased by 15 to 20% annually. This is purely because of the massive population. In 2008, when the recession hit the world, we saw a major decrease in demand for chocolate. This was purely because even though chocolate is a tasty treat, it's not essential, and therefore people cut it out of their diets.
So is there anything else that influences the demand for chocolate?
Well, chocolate consumption is seasonal. People tend to eat more chocolate during the winter and Easter, and in the summers we see a fall in demand.
As we've heard from our experts, demand and supply hold the key to the price of cocoa beans around the world. Future prices can be affected by speculators, which is again ultimately determined by demand and supply. However, the general speculation is that prices will continue to rise in the future.
Well, according to Chris, I just can't afford my daily chocolate. Looks like I'm starting my summer diet early.
Well, there's no harm to everyone. Thank you to Chris and our expert for the insight into the recent trends in cocoa prices.
Determined by demand and supply. However, Is that good though?
And cocoa trees planted more than 25 years ago have already passed. Why are you starting to
That's nice.